Greetings. Well, our situation has changed drastically since last week. We've gone from just a few businesses being closed to now all non-essential businesses being closed. We are experiencing conditions that none of us have ever seen before. Many are fearful and worried, and probably all of us are a bit anxious. Our anxiety comes from many things in this experience. It comes from our fear of contracting the virus ourselves. It comes from having to practice social distancing. And it also comes from the fact that people are hoarding goods and it makes it difficult for us to get the basic needs or supplies that we need. Any one of these things alone is enough to make us anxious, but then when you combine all of them together, our anxiety skyrockets. And then add to that the uncertainty of not knowing when this is going to end. And anxiety is understandable. In the midst of all of this uncertainty, we do have one constant, and that one constant is God. God has never abandoned His people and never will. God was with His people when they were slaves in Egypt. He was with them during the persecution from Rome. He was with them during the Black Plague in the 14th century. He's been with us through natural disasters, and God is with us today in the midst of what we are experiencing. One misperception that non-religious people have, and probably some church people as well, is that if God was a truly loving God, then God would never allow anything bad to happen to us. Well, God has never made that kind of promise to us, but God has promised that He would never abandon us and that He would be with us to the end of the age. However, we have some responsibility of connecting with God and being present to God. If we want to experience God's peace and God's hope in our life in these anxious and uncertain times, then we need to practice ways of connecting with God. Practice the spiritual disciplines. One of the reasons I often hear of people not practicing the disciplines is, well, I don't have time. I don't have time to pray, or I don't have time to read the Scripture. Well, today, one of the things that most of us have is time. We can't go to work. We can't be outside doing things. We can't be taking the kids to practices or performances or games. We can't go out to dinner with friends. So we have a lot of time on our hands. So use that time. Use that time to experiment with as many spiritual disciplines as you can. Prayer or Bible study or meditation or contemplative prayer or listening to music. All the ways that might help you to connect with God and experience the peace and the hope that can come from that connection. God can bring us those things in the midst of uncertain times. We often also experience God's presence through other people. We are, by the way, the hands, the feet, and the voice of God in other people's lives. And we know we must practice social distancing, but as it has been said, that doesn't mean social isolation. This is the time when we should be making a lot of telephone calls, checking in with folks, having conversations to help all of us pass the time of day. I've often preached that we are created to be in relationship with God and in relationship with one another. In our current situation, relationships are difficult. Worship is one of our primary ways of connecting with God, and we can't do that together as a community of faith, which makes that connection difficult as well. Our relationships with one another is difficult because we can't be together in fellowship or Sunday school. We can't go out to dinner with our friends. But we must become creative in the way that we stay connected to one another. Our connections will be digital for a while. FaceTime on the phone or Zoom meetings or gatherings. Technology is more important to our personal lives than we ever realized. And by the end of this crisis, we will all be a lot more technologically savvy. I also just want you to know that your church staff is working hard and they're working creatively to stay connected to you. Let me share some of the things that we're doing and some of the new things that are becoming your way. We will continue to offer worship the way we did this last Sunday with a more full worship experience. Amy and Emily are continuing to connect with the children and the youth in a variety of ways. Lee is staying in touch with our shut-ins and our more mature members. Trent is organizing a virtual fellowship time on Sunday morning where we can see one another and talk and catch up. Nancy and Leslie will be offering a live video Sunday school class on Sunday morning. Next Wednesday, I'll be starting a live video Bible study. Kristen is working with individuals to put up musical selections for your enjoyment, and you've seen some of those already this week. Vernon, Kevin, Phil, and others are contributing their talents to these musical selections. Andy's working extremely hard behind the camera on much of what you see us doing these days, as well as offering technical support for us. Jenny and Jane and Lori are all keeping the office tasks going and supporting the ministry staff. I just want to take a moment and say thank you to all of our staff, for they are working extremely hard and are being creative in the ways that they're doing ministry in these difficult days. We'll be communicating with you primarily through email in these days, and so we want to ask you to make sure that you open all of your emails, because it's in those kinds of communications that will help you know how to access these worship services and Sunday schools and all the different things that we're offering. Some of those things will be live, some of them will be recorded. What we need you to do is we need you to go to our YouTube channel and just go to YouTube, search for Middletown United Methodist Church, and when you find our channel, subscribe. Because when we get 100 subscriptions, then we get our own web address, which will make it easier for us to have access. One thing I do want you to remember, please remember your staff is available for you. If you need to talk to one of us for any reason, do not hesitate to reach out to us, either with a phone call, a text, an email. We're here for you. We also have a large group of volunteers who are ready and waiting to help run errands for people. So if you are a neighbor, they don't have to be a member of the church, need someone to go to the grocery or pick up something from the pharmacy or pick up any kind of supplies, just let us know and we'll be glad to contact you or connect you with someone who can run those errands for you. And then finally, we want to ask you to please remember to give. This is a difficult time financially for the church or for any nonprofit. In the midst of not being able to have worship service and collect our normal offering on Sunday morning, it's cut our income, but we still have expenses. We still have salaries to pay and utilities to pay, insurance to pay, all of those things. So let me please encourage you to give. You can give by going to our website. You can give through bill payer at your local bank, or you can do it the old-fashioned way and just write a check and drop it in the mail. And let me thank you in advance for your generosity and your faithfulness, for you are helping us continue to be able to do ministry in this unique and difficult time. Again, we want you to know that we're here for you. We're here to serve you. We're here to serve God. We're here to be in ministry with one another in these days. But remember, most of all, that we're praying for you. God bless.